All right. Welcome back to the weekly Friday Open Studio design session. You might notice that the lighting is different, and that is because this is my second attempt at streaming this week. My first attempt was interrupted, and the YouTube app froze and crashed. So I am doing this again. Um, Unfortunately, this means you're probably going to miss out on some of the progress that I did in the other one, in the other stream. But we are going to continue where we left off, and I guess kind of thankfully, we didn't really get too far in the last stream. Okay, so, right, so where were we? Last time, we were working on the underside of this F-16 model. Last week, we made this vertical portion in the middle, which I'm calling the loft structure. And this week, last attempt at a stream, we made this cross-section right here. Right. This cross-section was made using a diagram from a technical drawing off of Wikipedia. We traced the shape, made a template, and then we actually made the part. So that's what we did last stream. And at the end of the previous stream, that unfortunately failed because of a bug in the YouTube app, we were discussing methods to save some time in the manufacturing of this underside. Because currently, as you can see here, I have marks made for locations where I'm going to place a vertical loft structure like this, a perpendicular loft structure. So this means that if we keep the cross-section the same, we will need 2, 4, 6, 8, at least 8 of these cross-sections, which take at least 5 minutes to make. Right, so that would take a very long time. And so what we were thinking about was, how do we bypass all of that effort, right? Kind of fuse two ideas together. So instead of doing a traditional loft structure like this, we are going to do this, but we're going to take out a chunk, right? So this is what the cross-section, the new cross-section will look like. There will be a circular chunk taken out of this. It'll be tangent to this outer curve. And this circular hole will enable us to loft a straw, a thin diameter straw probably, not a thick diameter one, across the length of the underside of the fuselage, right? So that is our new idea. And it took approximately 80 to 90 minutes to get to that point, but today's stream, unfortunately, will be a little bit shorter because of YouTube's incompetence. You can probably tell the frustration from my voice. And I apologize for that, but it is very disappointing that this is still an issue, right? I could be doing this on Twitch, right? I could be streaming this on TikTok, but I am choosing to use YouTube because my channel's main presence is here. So, screw YouTube for not making a proper app. But, that's just my frustrations right now. So, I honestly do not want to stream anymore today, but we do have to make a little bit of progress on this model. I am not in the mood to create anymore, right? I was rudely interrupted by the app crashing. I was interrupted by somebody making a call, right? And it's just, I am not in that frame of mind anymore. So, you know, I'm sorry to not exude positive energy, and that is really my goal here, is to have a creative positive energy. But these Friday sessions, you know, they're my time to really focus in and not have any distractions and work on these projects. And I was rudely disrupted by technical difficulties and by people who just might not know that I do these things. So I don't know how far I'm going to get, but it probably won't be a very long stream. Um, right? I'm just probably going to create another one of these cross sections and then try out the whole idea, right? And if that doesn't work, then we just wasted 4 cross sections, and we need to actually make all of these, which unfortunately takes a lot of time to make, but it is necessary to get a proper underside geometry shape here. And so that is kind of the gist of what the rest of the stream today is going to be about. So, you know, hopefully you're still working on your projects, right? This didn't ruin the mood, but I am really frustrated with technical glitches and people not respecting my Friday, work time, studio time. So, with that said, let's just continue here. We need to create this cross section. Right, this isn't to scale, so that's not a big deal. But we do need another one of these base templates before we can start making holes. So let's do that. So we're trying to be efficient here with the use of materials. So we're gonna put this in right about here. So this is gonna be really tight, but it's going to make good use of what would otherwise be scrap material, right? Zoom in a little closer to see some of the details here. I'm guiding my pencil across the template. There, and mark this side fold. So that's kind of the template here for our next design. This isn't great. Actually, we shouldn't have been marking it on that. We should have been using cardstock paper, not regular paper. So as you can tell, I made a mistake, and the result of that is you guys wasting time and going through this. But just tracing this shape. mark the sides here. Mark the bottom, and mark these sides. Deep breaths. Stay calm. Alright. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go to about 7:30 today. It's currently 7:16. So apologies for the shorter stream. Trust that mark. I trust my eyes more than I trust measurements. So it's easy to make errors in measurements, but a quick eyeball check will probably point out some errors that you made. So again, we're going to cut this cross section. These are our 4 cross sections that we need to loft the underside of the F-16. Before we get started, this is going to be a risk. So I acknowledge these risks. So I will be modifying the templates. Now, after these templates have been modified with the hole for the straw structure like this, it may be structurally compromised if we intend to use it normally like we do. Right, so if you try to wrap a skin around a cross section with a hole in it, this part might break. I am not familiar with what would happen in that situation. So we may or may not be able to use this again, which is the risk, right? But if you succeed in doing this, then you'll save a lot of time, is essentially what we're trying to do, right? Create this structure in this sketch right here, where you have a cross section with a hole, right? Cross section with a hole, and then we just put a straw through, and then it's kind of like a hybrid between the original method, which is just solely using straws to loft, hybrid between straws and this new I guess slightly more traditional method of using a thin plane loft and perpendicular cross sections. So we are going to attempt to do that, and to do that I am really just gonna have to decide where to place the hole. That's gonna be the first step. The only thing that I'm hesitant about with this design is that it's going to be highly dependent on the whole location and how the cross sections fit, right? Because if they fit slightly differently, then the straw loft is going to have unevenness in the longitudinal direction. So it's a risk, right? So before I do that, I think I will try and get these to fit onto the aircraft itself. Right, so that involves doing the cuts and folds, and then cutting the fuselage. And then hopefully, once they fit in place, I can apply the loft. So that'll probably take out the uncertainty in how they fit together. And it's all about really minimizing uncertainty and tolerance issues. Okay, so let's begin that process. I have 8 minutes left in this stream. Again, I am not going the full 2 hours today. As you know, sometimes I think, I wonder to myself, if this is a character flaw that I get frustrated so easily. But you know, these things, right, technical glitches, that's out of my control. I'm not really a coder, right? I'm not an engineer at YouTube, a software engineer, you know. So I can't make these changes. And I can't control other people calling in and interrupting. But I can change how I respond. So my response is, I'm probably gonna shorten these streams. And that's just unfortunate for you guys. I know only 2 people essentially watch these streams, but for those 2 people, I would rather have kind of an archive of things that were said and presented rather than lose all of that. But really, if you got something out of it, then that's a win in my books. The project itself, it's not a digital file, it's a physical object. So progress is constantly being saved as you work on it, right? If you think about it that way. So it's not as bad, but it's just this digital content and effort, recorded tutorials, essentially. That's all that lost material makes me a little disappointed. So that's why I am disappointed. But really, those things are out of my control. I cannot influence that, so I shouldn't get too mad about it. Right? If I can teach somebody out there, that's a win. Alright, so I'm going to fit these 2 in. I might end up deciding not to take this shortcut, but we need to see if this is even feasible and produce reasonable results. Right? Because the thing with mixing in these methods where there's a lot of uncertainty, like lofting a straw, you don't know if it's going to fit perfectly until you actually make it. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but it's kind of my gut feel about this situation. Sorry I went silent there. Just cutting a little bit more gap in these two cross-sectional pieces. You need that to enable a better fit. So let's fold this out, fold this out. Okay, this fits quite decently. It's a little bit high, to be honest. But, you know, this... I think, you know, I'm tempted to just throw out the straw idea. Because I really don't want to waste these 4 cross-sectional pieces. Because if I have to remake everything, that'll be even more time. But there's a chance I can save time. But I just don't think, you know, the risk of things not lining up, I don't think it's worth it. I think we should just spend the extra time and do what we know works really well, right? So this is decision-making skills, right, playing into effect here. We want a great end product, and there really is no way to achieve that, right? You can achieve that by taking shortcuts, right? I'm not saying straws are not a good method, right? Because I have made designs that I think look really great with straws, right? They're very organic, right? Splines, right? This type of curvature, you know, minimizes the amount of energy in the bending of the material, right? If you imagine the material as a spring, and if you bend a spring, it wants to minimize the amount of energy that, you know, is going into that bend. So it's a very nice curve, but that is like a pure technique, right? It's all uniform, right? That is the build strategy. But here, I feel like with this idea, even though it's novel and new, and it could potentially work, I haven't tested it out. It's just that I'm concerned about fit issues, and you know, if it doesn't fit well, then we would have wasted time creating these cross sections. And you know, we already created these cross sections, so we only have, like, after these 2 are installed, we only have 2, 4, 6, 8 left, right? And today we already made 6, so I might have to do some work outside of these streams just to make these cross sections, right? So just to shorten the amount of time spent on making them in these streams, because I can imagine that's pretty boring. So in some ways, today's shortened stream is kind of a blessing, because you can get through the whole thing without being bored to death. You know? So I'll probably make some cross sections over this weekend, and then next week we'll continue off with this entire fuselage ready to go. You know, it'll be kind of disappointing if I get into like a flow state and I crank out all these cross sections and I can't panel it until next week, but I feel like I need to set these hard boundaries so that I do spend the proper amount of time paneling this next week. So with that said, I know we are reaching the end of our time here. It's a little past 7:30. The stream is at about 25 minutes. So, you know, I really want to get to the 30-minute mark, but really, if there's nothing else to present, then I really don't know what else I can do. I guess I could make another set of, you know, cross sections, but that might bring us over the 30-minute mark. But let's just at least try and get to the 30-minute mark first. Just a little bit longer, right? So this is probably the template that we used. Yep, this is the one with the smudges on the back. So almost there, home stretch. All right. So I just make 2 more of these. That's the goal. And we'll be happy with all the progress today. I'll make the rest of the cross sections over the weekend or something like that during the week or something. And then, we'll continue our next stream hopefully with a completed underside skeleton structure of, the longitudinal loft and these perpendicular cross sections. So just tracing the outer mold line here. Okay. Now, this is kind of hard to discern, but I believe that is the location where the fold happens. This right here is the location where the fold happens on this side. A quick eyeball check should indicate whether or not we were correct. So on this side it might be a little lower. Right about there. That looks about right. So this is, again, very boring, which I apologize for, but these shorter streams might be more appropriate actually for this type of progress. Just show a demonstration of how, and then next time we'll just fast forward to everything being complete. So this isn't exactly vertical, which is unfortunate. Just marked that out. So we currently have 4, so let's make another one here. So right there, right there. Right there. Okay. Vertical line right there. I believe that's the point we're interested in. Right. So we have made another 2 cross sections right here. I should probably end this soon. We're almost at about the 30-minute mark. So after I cut this out, just a rough cut, I'm going to end the stream. Alright, that's pretty much it. So sorry for the negative energy, the unsuccessful 2-hour stream. Those things are really out of my control, so I shouldn't worry about them too much. And we have reached our 30-minute mark. So thanks for watching, and I'll work on these cross sections over the weekend, but I'll be glad to come back next week and update you guys on progress of this F16. So hopefully next week we can start surface paneling the underside, and then from there is just finishing the nozzle, and then we should be all set with this project and get started on a new project. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Take care. Stay safe.